Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to another PDS podcast, again, brought to you in partnership with Hewlett Packard Enterprise. James Hilliard on board. Glad to be here for this conversation. We're going to take about 12 minutes or so, as we have done in the past, to discuss a topic. Today, really the focus is on HPE GreenLaKe, but we'll be coming at it from really a business perspective. How can GreenLaKe support kind of the business operations of your organizations out there? Two folks will be in conversation with me on that. I'll start off with Eric Gates. He comes to us from Hewlett Packard Enterprise, where he is the Senior Sales Director for Central, West, CSP, as well as the U.S. partner ecosystem. And from PDS, we have the President and CEO of the company, Dr. Asif Naseem, on board. Guys, welcome to you. Thanks for being here. And again, for the audience, about 12 minutes or so of conversation, a couple topic areas that I want to have you guys address. And really the goal, let some of our audience start thinking about some things and see, oh, maybe we need to have more conversations internally. Maybe we reach out to PDS and others to get more. So that's really what we want to accomplish here. Asif, to start with you, as you look at your customer ecosystem and the customers that are coming to you and that you're engaging with, they've got business challenges. Can you talk about the top two or three that seem to be similar across all those verticals that you support, of the top business kind of operational challenges they're facing today?
Gladly. You know, for the last several years, one of the key things that we've been focusing on within PDS is to engage our customers in more of a business and a strategic conversation. Instead of going to them and say, you know, here's a list of things that we have, what do you want to buy? Right. Or here's what's on the truck, what do you want to buy? We engage them on help us understand what is your information technology journey and how can we help you with that? And so with that, we've actually developed a pretty good template for our customer-facing people to engage our clients in those discussions about let's talk about and assess mutually where you are in your journey on digital transformation. Where do you want to go? How can we help you design a strategy to get there without even talking about a product or a speed and feeds? We engage them in that conversation, and at the end of the conversation, we have a blueprint of a strategy that we can work with them, define. And once we help them develop the strategy, then the chances are they're going to come back and say, okay, we need to implement part of it. How do we do that? Well, we're very good at that. And so we engage them. Now, to your question, in many of our recent conversations, we're finding out that a lot of enterprises are finding themselves in, and whether they are in healthcare, in Fortune 500 or public sector, they all have the same issue. They find themselves with an IT organization that's disparate and siloed. They have some workloads running on the edge nodes and the devices, some other application and data running perhaps in their in-house data center, and possibly even in a colo location, yet another set of workloads that are running in clouds, and often dozens of clouds. Recently, I read a study where a Fortune 500 company has more than 30 commercial clouds subscriptions. And so think about an IT organization. How do you manage such a disparate, siloed IT environment where your workloads are distributed over dozens of different types of environment? How do you dynamically manage them? How do you orchestrate them? I think if there is a fundamental problem that I would point to, is that our clients in all of our markets are faced with that. How do I get a hold on this, what I call hybrid IT, and I don't even know what kind of services I'm subscribing to? How do I manage that? Mm-hmm. That is actually one of the fundamental problems that we're seeing in most of our discussions with enterprises.
I'm going to summarize complexity. Right.
Complexity,
That's
yeah.
one of those things. And then that lack of insight, Eric, right? That's something else that I hear from various customers. We just don't know what is that. We don't know what the data is. We don't know maybe where it is. We want control all sorts of things are flying around. But I do often come back to complexity, and they want more insight into their business. Is that theme sound right to you, Eric?
That's very much so. I mean, 84% of our customer base really has a hybrid IT environment, right? Which means it's very complex, it's siloed. They have a competition for capital on where do they put their capital and how do they make the next investment. But really, it's that operations piece that we're finding more and more is the most complex. When you have this move to cloud first, what is that? What does that mean? And then for many customers, it means a lot of different things, which is how they've gotten themselves into this situation. Then they find out that they can't move all their applications. So not only is it just hybrid cloud and clouds in different locations in different places, but you still have a lot of traditional IT as well. And that traditional IT, up to 70% of the workloads that we're finding, according to IDC last year, still reside on-prem, right? When you think about some of the old legacy applications, and they just haven't been able to move there because of refactoring costs or a number of IT different challenges around data gravity. They may be in an industry where compliance and security doesn't allow them to move. And so, again, I'm just going to reiterate that, but yeah, that becomes their issue. They're siloed, they're complex, they've got a dual operating model, and they can't take advantage of everything that they need to take advantage from a speed perspective. We still hear over and over, speed's the number one issue that most of our customers face.
And a lot of that probably tied towards storage and things like that. I want to take, in a couple minutes, we'll spend a good amount of time talking about how HPE can address some of these with GreenLake, some of the challenges. But before we do that, Asif, in terms of, okay, so we've got these challenges of complexity. The negative effect, as I see it, is if a company is bogged down with all those challenges, then they might not be able to be as agile, be able to respond to the customer needs as much. Is that one of the big challenges, again, that your customers are coming to you and saying, we can't be bogged down with this. We need to be more agile. We need to be more responsive to our customers.
Well, absolutely. I mean, I'll give you a recent anecdote. I was talking with the CIO of a large enterprise a few months ago, and she comes to the room and she said, we are going to change the business model with you, how we work with PDS. Traditionally, we buy products and every now and then we buy a service from you. We're going to change that. We're looking for a partner that can help us implement our strategy moving forward. How do we manage our currently messed up, and this is the words that she used, siloed, fraction IT environment. And so we want to change our relationship with you. And we've decided we're going to go cloud first. And then she pauses for a moment and she said, I have no idea what I just said. I need help. I was just so impressed that she was so honest and just upfront with me. Because in many other conversations, you find out that's what the customers are trying to tell you. A lot of times you have to sort of extract that from what they say. They're all in trouble. And they're finding out that there are, running that fractured, siloed IT environment, you have, there are some short-term impacts, and then there are some long-term impacts as well. On the short term, and I see that often, a knee-jerk reaction from an enterprise is, oh, we got too fat of an IT budget. We got to cut the IT budget. And especially when they realize that a lot of their IT staff is working on either tactical or operational issues. And so the first gut reaction is, let's cut our IT budget and let's cut some of these people off. Well, that's not a very good solution, right? And then there's also long-term impact. Often you find in a statically provisioned environment in enterprise, and I hear this often in my customer conversations, either I have over-provisioned the system or I have under-provisioned it. Both are problematic. right? Over provisioning for obvious reasons. I mean, it's wasted cost and wasted energy. Under provisioning is equally bad and sometimes actually worse because a couple of projects come in and they need the capacity that you don't have. So you have to add capacity at the very last minute, and that can be problematic. It's expensive, it requires additional investment, it requires additional staff, it requires additional effort to actually maintain it over time. So in the absence of a cohesive strategy to how to manage my capacity, how to scale it up or down, it could really cost an enterprise quite a bit in terms of resource, energy, and effort.
Well, and it leads us, Eric, into then GreenLaKe, and it all started just from an observation, right? That there are a lot of folks that I've talked to, and one of the interests is that on the financial side, the business side, they'd be able to start shifting from the CapEx model that so many of us are used to, and back to that provisioning. Maybe we spend on a ton of servers and storage and this that we never use, or you didn't buy enough because you didn't have the capital outlay. GreenLaKe helps them go from the CapEx to the OpEx model. That's one of the big benefits that I've heard about, and it helps address some of this siloing and fracturing, as Asif had brought up. Expand upon that. Take a couple minutes here.
Yeah, when we hear CapEx, OpEx, what we're really hearing is I want to pay for what I'm actually using. I want to better align my cash flows. I want the business value that I'm reaching to mirror what I'm actually spending and what's actually leaving my treasury, right? And so, yeah, cost, we just talked about cost, but when you have these multiple types of models, where am I spending my money? How do I keep track of it all? How would I be able to keep track of it all? So you over provision, as we just talked about, over provisioning. We're seeing roughly from a compute and storage standpoint, most of our customers about 60% over provisioned. Hey, so they're not going to run out of capacity, but the problem is the two most expensive pieces of your data center are power and people. Yeah. So you're always running that. You're not aligning those cash flows. And then if you start quickly moving to different sort of cloud models, how do you keep a good sense of what's happening there? Where are my dollars going? And how am I being most efficient? Yeah, so yeah, we can talk about GreenLaKe Central a little bit further as we get into this, but from a GreenLaKe Central standpoint, one of the big key advantages we have is giving you a single pane of glass that will allow you to get a handle on where am I spending, both in your GreenLaKe environment, your traditional IT environment, and even your public cloud environment based on the APIs we have built in.
And that goes to what I was saying about that visibility, right? A lot of customers are looking for that visibility. If you could point to one thing that GreenLaKe customers have come back to you, Eric, and said this one piece of visibility is something that you hear over and over and over again, what might that be?
Well, I would tell you that right now it's probably twofold. One, it's going to be where am I actually spending that cost so I can give some sort of show back to my end users and I can become more of a service or an IT service broker, right? Then I can really dole things out appropriately. And then the other area is the built-in cost and compliance, really a compliance standpoint, where earlier we were talking about different entities, but we've got 1,500 different cost compliance controls that we have monitored that not only give you the monitoring and the alerts, but then also give you remediation.
There's so much that we can talk about, and I'm going to give some contact information here in just a couple moments so that the conversation can continue. But Asif, I do want to come back to you as you're out there and as your team is out there talking to your PDS customers. What is the biggest kind of promise that you've been sharing with them that HPE and GreenLaKe can bring to them that really gets them to say, okay, I want to learn more, right? What are they really craving and looking for in terms of the GreenLaKe solution?
You know, one of the things that I always espouse within our team is that we have to develop the ability to actually speak into the listening. Customers don't always come out right away and tell you, here's my problem. You just have to surmise from what you're hearing. You have to discover and then speak into that listening. And frankly, one of the things that I have personally found is that as enterprises find themselves with this huge challenge of trying to orchestrate applications and data across this disparate environment, they're looking for some flexibility, some solution that actually helps them solve this problem. So one of the things that I find intriguing about HPE's solution that we frequently talk to customers about is that it offers a significant amount of flexibility to the customers to tailor the solution to address their specific issue. For example, this whole concept of self-service or as a service, I think this creates a lot of flexibility for a particular client to work with us to create a solution that actually custom fits them.
Guys, appreciate the insights again. HPE Green Lake, modern technology for the modern business out there. And again, it's not just IT gear, but it really has those business operational benefits for the teams, as we've heard, that have been able to roll that out. If you want to learn more, a couple things I'm going to invite you to do. One, I want you to head online to the PDS website. It is www.pdsit.net. So pdsit.net. And if you want to reach out to the team at PDS via phone, you can do so 800-966-6090. That's again 800-966-6090 to reach out, get on the phone. Whole lot more of a conversation they will be happy to engage with you on. And then again, if there are folks from Eric's teams and HPE that can be brought into the conversation, they'll be happy to do so and lead you on that continued transformational journey that you're having. With that, folks, we are going to wrap things up. One last plug, pdsit.net. We hope that you will all be safe and be well, and we look forward to talking to you all down the road.